Let's see what's behind door number 2. It's outside. Hello, Internet, and welcome back to a slightly unexpected Space Engineers video today. So, as many of you are aware, the new Most Wanted update just released. I was not aware an update was coming. I sort of anticipated that one was just being announced. So, there was a live stream that was announced for today at, I believe it was roughly 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern US time. That live stream, I thought, was just going to be announcing the next DLC, which would come in like a month or whatnot, as a sort of teaser like they've been doing. Well, as it turns out, that live stream was announcing an update going live specifically focused on adding to the game all of the various things, or at least a lot of the various things, that we the community have wanted in the game for a long time, but that haven't existed. So that is a whole bunch of different block shapes to kind of merge stuff together, help things flow together so you can make more smooth, uniform shapes and transitions. They added a bunch of different little changes and tweak type blocks. They added things like T-junctions for conveyors now, which is pretty cool, I'm sure. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So we're just going to go exploring, I think. This is... I'm not even clicked in the window. Woohoo! So this is the world... I forget exactly what it's called, but it's what they used for all the promotional what-have-yous, photos and whatnot. Yeah, it's available on the Keen Software House workshop page. I'll probably put a link to it just so you can also explore around it, and it'll give all the information and whatnot that I don't know because I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, there are some pretty notable things. First off, just looking here, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of explore around this place, figure out what's here, find a way to get out, and I should see a lot of new stuff as I do. So, first thing, one of the big things that was kind of seen in the promotional photo for the live stream, these curved bits of glass are here. They exist. I mean, that's pretty darn neat. So, curved blocks in Space Engineers, if I open up my thingy, they're kind of oft forgotten, because they aren't really very integratable into all the other blocks. So, I don't believe... I'll have to do some more poking around, but I don't believe they've actually done all that much to integrate them better, like help you smooth them into the flat blocks that we have more access to. But adding windows to them means you can do kind of like... It's kind of hard to show it off from inside the base, but, well, you can kind of see, so this is sort of a tiered, bubbly type structure. You've got the curves there sticking out. Having the glass here means that's kind of a valid way to design a base, because you aren't just making a wall of metal that's curved, you can make it with windows, you know. It gives a little bit more utility to use these sort of shapes in something and have it not feel like useless greeble, even though many people in Space Engineers would argue no greeble is useless. These little fellas are also a notable addition. So you may know, somewhat recently, a little while back, Keen released a little real-life plush little Space Engineer doll. Sort of the icon, they sort of look like frogs, this green one especially. So those you can buy, or could buy, I assume they still are available, but they exist in real life, and now you can have them in your game. So if they're kind of down here, their own little bar of the build menu. I wonder if they're blocked by progression at all. Just out of curiosity. Not seeing them at all, so I'd assume they're buildable from the get-go. They probably don't unlock anything progression-wise, which also makes some sense. Yeah, they may be there. I don't believe so. But yeah. And, okay. Well, you can see they're a little bit head-heavy, but, you know, maybe that makes sense. Let me see if I can get one. There we go. Oh, nope, he's flopping over too. They like to be on their heads, which I don't know if it's fully intentional, but I do find it adorable. Well, there you go. You'll sit. So yeah, you can just have these around. They're small grid only, so you can't just have one sitting ominously at the end of a hallway in a large grid base, unless you use a merge block or whatnot. But yeah, just a cute little fella. You can take him with you, have him on the dashboard of your ship, or strapped to the grill like a teddy bear on a semi-truck. So, I guess moving on, I don't think there's too much new in here other than that. This is new, however, and it's a little more, well, that's not. I thought that this was something they had allegedly fixed, but maybe they didn't mean this specific Z fighting. Maybe it was other Z fighting. Either way, this piece, this railing bit, it looks about the same, but you'll notice it's on a 2x1 slope. That was not a thing before. It used to only be the 45-degree slope, which meant stuff like this where you went from a full wide block with a railing down to a half railing for a stair wasn't possible. Now, I did do some looking, and unfortunately, one of the things that is still not added, and I do want to say, anything that they didn't add is in no way a critique of, saying that they should have had this or should have had that. Just doing this in general is pretty darn great. And I should mention, this is an entirely free update, and with no associated DLC to it. They did add things to DLCs, so for example, these are the Warfare 1, whatever they call them, half-window whatchamahoozits. But these curved bits are part of the DLC, so, they're also apparently not airtight, or not part of this volume of atmosphere. That might be a bug. Is that the same with these? It is. I have a funny feeling that's not supposed to be the case. But, point being, if I go in here, I don't actually own the DLC for these, so I can't place them, but you can see up in the upper right, the little corner, is that nice curve bit, and I think the one next to it is also new. It's a 45-degree one. Those two that are like a square may also be new. I don't know. But yeah, so they added stuff kind of across the board to the DLCs and to the base game, but all of that, I mean, obviously the stuff that's added to the DLC, you have to pay for the DLC to get, but they aren't charging extra to any of that or extra for anything in the base game. So, that little ran over. The thing that is missing, I noticed. So, if we pull out one of these, imagine it in large grid, but it's very hard to place stuff in here because of all the various things. So, I often find myself using, it's gone large, find myself using one of these 2x1 slopes attached, turn correctly, attached, sort of like this. Imagine this is bigger and attached to anything. Putting this kind of where these stairs are as the little half slope, then connecting to another one of these. It'll make sort of a gentle curve that isn't actually rounded. It's some of the closest we can get to a wide arc curve in the game. And it's a shape I enjoy for just kind of like small landing pads. I've used it a lot, or say like a pier walkway going out. It's just a nice way to kind of end something in a curve instead of a harsh edge. The railing for covering something like that does not exist. So if we look at these, you can see we've got, oh, this is actually another thing. We'll probably see them in a bit. This railing, if you compare to the bounding box, you can see it's actually dead center of the block it goes on. So that would work for, say you had a half armor piece here, like half armor slab sideways, you could stick this on it, it will fit, and you'll have the railing kind of at the edge where you want it. So that's neat. But, so we have the square half railing things that would kind of block off something like that. We do not have anywhere in this grouping a small 45-degree rail. So something that would sort of, if I can get it angled, something that would sort of go like this. This is really hard to see with all the various lines and whatnot, but where I've sort of got the ghost image of this rail hovering, there's nothing that'll sort of do that at the moment, which does mean that this sort of narrow shape with a 45-degree angle there and another one of these, you'd still have the corner unrailed. Which is, you know, it would be nice if they had included some, if that had been thought of as well, but it's hard, with all the other stuff they added, it's hard to accuse them of, or it's hard to blame them for forgetting something. So yeah, looking around, don't know. Oh, I guess that's a way to point something out. So you can see that thing that looks like a shipping container. That is using the new corrugated metal armor skin, which is a free armor skin. So if I hit my little P button. Yeah, so corrugated armor. So it'll just sort of look like corrugated metal for, like, you know, tin roofing or sides of tin buildings. It's a nice little way to add a little more detail. I think they showed it used for stuff like this and then for like hangers and whatnot. It's a nice little thing. They also added, and where is it in this? Let's clean, here it is. Weldless armor, which if you, actually it's easier to see out this way. So if you look down at that sort of landing pad, you can see the white there, which kind of is the traditional armor with the little lines on it. That smooth stuff, it sort of looks like how the blast door blocks work, where they're just smooth surface. Those are actually full blocks in the smooth, or I think weldless armor. I just looked at it. What are you called? Weldless armor. Yeah. So it lets you make something that actually looks smooth instead of the weird, like, connected panels. I'm probably going to be using that for a vast majority of stuff now. Just because so much in Space Engineers... whoa. Excuse me, fella. Or at least so much of the stuff I build, I feel like it would look... It should be something that would be, like, metal that's painted, you know? That's how most of the real world is. And having all these lines and whatnot, that's, you know, a lot of stuff you'd paint over. Stuff like that. I don't know. Rambling way of saying I'm very pleased with that addition. So, how do I get out of here? Guess up? We can do some more looking. Ba-doo. All of this looks more or less original. The bathrooms, there aren't... No. I was just curious for a second. I haven't seen this in the list of additions, but if this were like a closable door, that would have been exciting. I don't believe it is. Yeah, some more flat stuff. I don't know what the puff of steam is. I guess some industrial activity. Oh, here's a new thing. Okay. So, this is a big addition. This is an inverted corner desk. So, if we look at our line of desks... Oh, and wait a second. No. So... Can I place anything in this building? I think pretty much all the spaces are occupied. There's one. Okay. So, traditional desk, straight like that. Chairless one has no chair. Corner, and then this, the chairless corner. Those were the original 4 desk blocks we have. Now, we have a corner, and then an inverted corner without a chair as well. I don't know. I mean, it is an addition. I guess it wasn't something that I was particularly pining for, but I'm sure it's going to be useful. It's great for something like this where you'd have, like, I don't know why there's a reception desk to this particular bed, but something like this is a reception desk. It's a good way to fill a corner where you don't have anything else to put in there, because you could put a square desk against a wall and it kind of works, but it also feels like, there's some wasted space. Here, you've got a big old desk. You can sit at it. Yeah. So I think that's nice. Move along. Is there anything? Okay, there's another one in here. Okay. Mess hall, control tower, and data center. There's probably some fun stuff in that. Yeah, I do like... I mean... This is going to be a big thing in and of itself, just having these glass tubes to walk through. That's nice. Ooh, and actually, if I jet sideways and then hop down here, this is something... So, this is something that really excites me. I can't get... We'll see more of them out there. So, this block next to me looks like a standard block, right? If I go up here, you can see, hold on, there's a conveyor in there. Is it like a panel? Is it something? No. This is... I don't remember what they call it. Where is it in the list? Is it just under... Yeah, just under normal conveyor. So this is... There's the T conveyor. That's exciting, too. This is a reinforced conveyor tube. So it has got, on 3 sides, metal. It's got an open side, so you can see the conveyor if you wish, and then conveyor bits. This is incredibly exciting, because this allows you to hide conveyor tubes in walls and have it be a functional wall without having to use just a massive line of the conveyor sorters. Conveyor sorters, 1, they're covered in these yellow things that don't look very good. And 2, all the little yellow conveyor ports actually have a bit of a performance impact on the game. Because how the conveyor network works, it will look... Basically, it's always looking at the conveyor port junctions to see if there's another conveyor attached to it. So if you have a whole bunch of these with a bunch of unused... Whoops. I forgot that I'm not in creative mode in this world. Anyway, if you have a bunch of conveyor junctions like this with just unused ports, it can actually slow your game down needlessly because you aren't using them. So, these are going to solve a lot of that. And it looks like, yes, you've got the corner bit, you've got the this, which is just a straight, then you've got the new T, and then any more than that, you just add a conveyor junction in. But what this is going to allow is a whole bunch of conveyor networks that look like they're supposed to be attached to the build. You can use this also to make something, you can have pipes running somewhere that look held in place. One particular thing, I'm not going to be able to spawn the ship inside this tube, but I've been working on a little shuttlecraft ship that has engines out on pylons. Those pylons look really doofy because they're just conveyor tubes. So with these, it'll give it some structure and actually make it look like, okay, there's a pillar holding this engine on, and the tube just runs through it. So yes, very excited about those. Onward we go. Got another little... I like how they did this display case, too. Just kind of the only new part of this is the little fellas, but... yeah, they're cute. Okay. So this is like a little storage area. I guess this is the cafe. All pretty standard. This is some sort of something, but I want to go back real quick. So, another new thing. This structure, if I pop in here, so this is a something. What are you called? Let me see if I can find it in my list. Would it surprise you to know I don't prepare for these sort of things? There we go. So, a ladder shaft. This is basically... I wonder... That's going to get weird for a second. So it's just here now. Yeah. So this is sort of like a conveyor tube, whatever you call them, the passageway blocks, but sideways with a ladder in it and a little platform. This is super handy. One, you can have a whole line of these and you'll feel like your ladder is actually kind of like a industrial access-way ladder. I can't climb it because it's sideways, but yeah, so it'll feel like the place, you know, it feels like you're going into a little service corridor. You're not just in this massive open pillar of a 1x1 square block climbing down a ladder. The actual gap makes sense because you've got, you know, covering around most of it. It's not just a big hole with a ladder sticking out of it. Get rid of that. Yeah, I think that'll be really nice for, I mean, basically any time you'd need to use a ladder, really. Outside of stuff where the ladder's external to the ship, something like this is just going to feel more correct. So that's real exciting. Let me see. Oh, there's a nice sort of use of the corrugated armor that almost looks like a little bunker building or whatnot. Actually, I believe those, yeah, those on top are a new thing as well. We'll get to that eventually. Medical center and main airlock. Let's see what's over here. Okay, this all looks about standard. That's one of the half whatever conveyor tubes that came with one of the DLCs. I don't think I actually have that one. Here's another one, the conveyor, armored conveyors, which does look pretty good. Part of me does wish that they maybe hadn't included one open side. I understand why they probably wanted to, just to make it clear that, hey, there's a conveyor in there, and to kind of continue the idea that it's a normal conveyor, but with some structure around it. But, I don't know. The downside with this, especially on this corner piece, is this opening is pretty much... a lot of times where you'd use this, there's not going to be a convenient way to cover this hole. So while, yes, it's supported, it's maybe not as hidden and stealthy as you'd like if you want to completely hide the conveyor. Now, that being said, actually, I think this is a free passage. There you are. You can always slap one of the panels on it. The panels are pretty darn useful, plus, this should be a connection point. In fact, in the tunnels, yeah, it is a connection point. So, while it's, you know, a little bit like, well, I would have just put a little more metal and covered that, you can cover it much easier than you could cover just a normal conveyor. Yeah, this is a cool looking building. And you can see, you know, talking again, you can see where curved, bubbly buildings are now, or the rounded blocks are now useful for things like these bubbly buildings. You know, the shape works much better. And you can kind of, because you can make everything a bubble and still have windows in it, it gives you a reason to build everything as a bubble. Whereas before, you may have just gone with 45-degree angled slopes because then you could put a window on it. This seems like an airlock, which is using the corrugated metal. So that is kind of cool. Let's... medical center. What's in here? I don't think much was changed medical-wise. Nah, this looks about normal. Got one of these, so that could be, you know, if you have like a medical center that has several bunks for like sick patients, you could have this as the sort of reception desk, or the sort of, you know, doctor's desk where they sit while they're waiting to help people. Ooh. Oh, that's actually... I like this. So this is one of the new pieces. This is, if you look at the Graydon Catwalk, we now have half catwalks that comply with the short side of the half armor slab. So yeah. And it's basically, so we've got this one that's uncovered. Got one with rails in various spots. So yeah, kind of like the normal catwalks, very useful. It will fit off of these little side catwalk pieces. So say you had like, you know, you had full width catwalk, but then you have like an area where a pipe runs past and you want to give it a little more space. You could have it narrow down to half catwalks. Or you could use them, is there... No, I don't think there's a piece that's like this, but you could use, say, one of these. You could have unrailed catwalk going out, it's hard to show this from inside, but you could have unrailed catwalk going out one side and then the half catwalks coming down the other, and make a sort of dock slip area where you could park a ship in, and kind of have it run right up to the side where you could walk straight through a door. That's gibberish. That'll make sense later if I can show it outside. But that's also a cool way just to kind of hide, because that's one of the downsides of these bathrooms. You know, this style is pretty common, but if it has to face this way, if you have to enter the bathroom and go right, the shower door, which is a glass shower door, is just facing for everyone outside to see. So that's kind of a nice little... And you could do this with there's a half armor slopey bit that could do just as well, but I don't know. It's a nice bit of style if you just want to see a little bit of someone showering, I suppose. But yeah. Not too much. There's a passageway down there. May have to figure out where that is, but yeah, not too much extra there. Let's keep going this way and explore the inside a bit. That's a bathroom. So, data center and control tower. This is just into the kitchen. Let's see the data center. Is that... yeah. Ah, see, perfect. Desk, reception area. You could imagine like a security guard or, you know, staff person just sitting there and like, oh, you're not allowed to go into the data center. You need to turn around. Yeah, some storage. This is all already in existence to the best of my knowledge. Oh, kind of neat. Though again, this is... or no, actually this indicates, so, whoops. Can I don't know why I want to be up here, but I do. So, did I mention these earlier or not? I can't remember now. But, this is one of the new things as well. So, previously, in part of the, I think it was Warfare 2, we got these glass window sort of, I think they're called cockpit windows or bridge windows, where it's basically an inverted slope with this little desk looking thing that's actually the same height. They haven't used it up here, but it's the same height as one of the desk blocks. So if you had a desk with a chair here, you could sit here and kind of look out over the surround. But originally we had this block, which is the flat one, and then we had this sort of inverted triangle corner. That was all well and good, but say you wanted to, have an angle here, this block didn't exist. This is new. So we now have I guess it's the inverse of what did exist, but yeah, this corner here to kind of fill in those gaps, sort of like that corner existed with the original glass window, and I guess you could have used one of those to create this and just had basically a little floating counter sticking out over the void. But yeah, so that's lovely, and that's another example of DLC additions that are in the game. Oh, and here's a good use showing the half catwalk. As you can see, you have half a stair, and then to cover the rest of the hole, you have a half catwalk, which means you don't have to have just a chasm here and block it off on either side, and you can kind of use that space to walk so you can put something here. So that's lovely. Now, yes, this is ground floor. Factory, hydroponics, and laboratory. Let's see if there's something new in this. Again, I don't think so. Yeah, O2H2, that's normal. The factory floor. Ah, so here's some more ladders. Oh, and you can see, so... I still have it out. So this is sort of the orientation we found it before, where the grating was above. These are actually flipped 180, and now the grating serves as a floor. So that's pretty nice and multifunctional. You can still fall down them if you need to gain quick access, but yeah, it feels like walking around. I wonder... Now this has always been... that does work. An issue with ladders has always been that you couldn't have them like that, where they're the opposite wall of the entrance, because you could never get off of them. You just fall back down the hole. So with these, you actually fall out, you get off the ladder. My feet seem to be doing funny things down there, but you get off the ladder on the platform, so you can actually use these to climb up. So if I wanted to, this view's not great. Where am I? Hold on. Okay. I think I'm in between the floors now. It's a little hard to tell, but I also didn't look at the floor I came off of. But yeah, you can see you can now get off at intermittent floors, so you can use these to go up, like a ladder in real life, where you want to go up one floor or two. So that's super useful. Is there anything else? Most of this just kind of looks like generic factory whatnots, which all came about in previous DLCs. Got another ladder network. Yeah, this all looks to have existed previously. But another cool use for the ladders. My guess is nothing's all that different in here. Nah, just kind of... Again, this is a good kind of showing the, using up the space of a cube a little better. You can stick this... Yeah, I don't need fuel. You can stick this in and it sort of backs up to 2 blocks at once, so it kind of, I don't know, feels like it fills the space better. Though I have to say this area is maybe a little cluttered anyway. Yeah, this is the better office by far. Anything? Yeah, not really. Too much else going on here. Okay. How do I get out of here? Let's explore the outside next. I think main airlock is this way. That seems like the correct spot with which to exit. So, hey, didn't get all the air, but it got enough, I'm sure. Okay. So out we are. What all is there? This is cool. Oh, and this was a thing. So, where are they? So, the neon tubes. I don't even remember what neon tubes we had previously. I think we had these two. We did not have that. We had this corner. We had that L. We had that. We had this, which is a little end-capped one. These with the box. Those, and that. So those were the original neon tubes from Spark of the Future DLC, I believe. Now, so continuing the T-junction theme, we have a T-junction. And we have this wild circle thing, which I guess is useful. It almost looks more like I could see this, oh, definitely, like on a ceiling above you for like a teleporter, like Star Trek style transporter. Ah, that would be wicked. It almost makes me wish that these were, like you could turn these on and off. So yeah, so that's pretty neat. The big change with, these, and you can see them used. So this is a tip, those of you, some may not be familiar. So these are all neon tubes, and if you paint them, let's choose red. So if I stick this just on the ground here, you can see, actually it is off when there's no power. That's kind of neat. I don't know if that was original behavior or not. Let's find a... Oh no, maybe. Nah, I think they were looked off before. Hard to tell. Point being, you can see, you know, they look like neon. They've sort of got a glowiness to them, and if it were dark out, you'd see they emit light. Or at least have a glow around themselves. Well, if you paint them black, that glow goes away, and up close they sort of look more, it would be a very high shine plastic, but from any sort of distance, they sort of just look like wiring running around, and with all the little wires next to them and whatnot, they work really well for sort of showing like wire conduiting or, you know, stuff like that, and they can be used to attach things, like these are attaching these little corner bits, so you can use them to bridge gaps and this sort of almost like a power conduit network, so you could have some wind turbines sitting off in a corner, run these, and then connect them to the main building without having a line of blocks. But yeah, so using them, it's nice that they seem to be kind of exploring ways to add to these that could work for that sort of stuff as well, because it adds more that you could do if you want neon, but I feel like most players don't want neon tubes all over their stuff, but do like these for this sort of decorative style. So yeah, so that's kind of neat. What is up here? I think this is just an antenna. Yeah, which is... critical. Yeah. Let me see if I can spawn myself a fuel tank to keep them from chatting. Is this... Dang it, that's oxygen. Oh, out of curiosity. Oh, yeah. So here's something to note. So they added the T-junction to normal conveyors. They also added it to the pipes, which was funny because the pipes actually had not a T-junction, but they had an X-junction, which had 4 of the 6 sides, which the original conveyors don't have. So the pipes were briefly actually had some more options for, you know, connecting things without having to use a big conveyor junction, which I think the pipes look better even with their junctions. But having this T is also nice. And oh, why am I thought I was not going to die. Uh-oh. Quickly back to the medical center. Hope this airlock cycles quickly. Okay. I won't die because it's pressurized. Right. Anyway. T-junction. Nice addition. So... oh. There were hydrogen tanks right there. Yeah, well. I filled up a bottle on the inside. There's a door over here. Let's see what's in this. My guess... does this go... ooh, actually, that's kind of a neat... we'll do it by climbing. So right now, it's hard to tell. I am on the new ladder with thingy. Now, I am on traditional ladders. So, you can see they line up perfectly. You can just kind of keep going on them. And it means if you want there to be gap where you can't stop at each floor, you can do that, like for this big old tower. But I don't want to be here, so let's see what else is inside. Ooh. Some toys. Okay, this is another thing. Whoops. So, you can see these are those same... well, I mean, seeing this is just... that's big. These are neon tubes on small grid. They were just large grid before. So now you can do that same sort of wire detailing, or these have been sort of used as like almost like metal security cage on like a, you know, off-road vehicle. You can now use them on small grid for details like that. That's super cool. So these look pretty darn good. Let's see. Those are the new doors. Those were part of Warfare 2. Those are normal. You can also see the sort of... I think actually it looks better from outside, but the sort of corrugated metal for like a garage like this. Interesting, it doesn't apply to these windows, or... yeah, no. So the corrugated effect does not apply to things like the windows, which makes some sense, because, you know, that would be weird. But it kind of... the sharp line is kind of notable, but, I mean, again, that's more a limitation of how textures in this game work than anything added. So, I guess it's probably... yeah, I never use Y in the normal game, because normally stuff's connected to other stuff and I'm wary of it, but... yeah, look at this thing. It just adds that little touch of detail, and again, it's using these neon tubes in a way that they are not intended to be used. Or at least they weren't originally envisioned. You know, the base idea is, oh, it's a neon tube, you'd have it on signs and stuff. Also, oh, I just realized, having them in small grid... here, I want to build a structure. Okay. So, I was just curious to try it out. So, this is a small grid little sign. I don't know who Fred's gas is, or I guess Fred, it's his gas. But you can see, you can use these. I mean, this is kind of the idea of what LED tubes as LED tubes would be. You're creating, signs with some interest and some pizzazz. I wonder which one of the... One thing that could be nice in the future is a just almost like a, you know, matte, unaltered, almost like the... I used the weldless armor for this panel, so you can see it's just flat color, which is awesome. But, it'd be nice to have a thing that have a paint that could be used to make the letters themselves glow. I don't think this'll do it. It may, though. No, they just have the sort of pattern. What does this do? Yeah, no. But, point being, with those on small grid, this sign is quite a small, reasonable size. So you could have that. You could even have that sitting on a rotor, so it's on top of your base, and you just have like a gas station sign spinning around on top of the base, with LEDs and everything. So that's pretty darn fun. So leave that there. What else is there to explore? Yeah, so these things with the, corrugated metal. I feel like this works the best for it. Just in terms of course, getting too close and you can see it's a flat texture applied, but we don't look at things like that. From sort of this angle, it looks like a shipping crate. And that's pretty fun. Now, there's not much point in having shipping crates in Space Engineers aside from, aesthetic design. But, I don't know. I think it works really well as just, here's a box of metal. Go have fun with it. Yeah, so we've got some landing pads. I'm just gonna flit around and see if I can sight anything else that we've not covered yet that was added. There are a couple things I know about that I'm gonna probably look at. Oh, okay, this is fun. Anything new on you? No, in fact, no, because those are the half panels. I don't even think it uses the new neons. Okay. So, this is... Look at that. Then, I'm not sure why I don't have control to raise and lower the pistons, but... I guess mast. Maybe not? Ah, that would do it. The velocity has to be something, so hold on. So if I set those to -5, why? Okay. There's a step to this that I'm unaware of, I think. But, even just with this not lifted, I've got a little forklift and I'm moving around a big old box. Scraping it along the ground a bit, but that's fine. That's, again, 100% something you could do before, but doesn't it look the part with the corrugated metal? So, this hangar's mostly empty. You can see some of them stacked. Ooh. Hello, sneaky. Oh. Hold on. I sense a puzzle. Let me real quick just poke my head over here to this smoking building. I'm not sure why this battery's damaged. I don't think they've added... Maybe there's some weird thing with this world save. I think got damaged. I don't think they've added anything wild like, you know, overcharging batteries. The solar panels are neat. I like how they've... Again, this is not anything really new. You could do this before outside of the texture, but I've not seen that style done, so that's neat. Oh, and it's... Hold on. Are these moving? No, they're stationary. But that's real smart. I believe... I don't think I'll be able to control this from here. Yeah, no. But it's using the turret controller to control the rotor and rotor and hinge, so you can point it at the sun. That's neat. Now all we need is to have Keen make it so the sun is targetable. Oh, here's some addition. We've seen them before, but you can see in their native habitat the half railing, which... It's one thing I have noticed. It was a thing with the half armor stairs as well, or it still is. Occasionally, you kind of get a little stuck. I don't know why I could walk over that. That was odd. In fact, I feel like that's maybe not supposed to be happening. I don't think that's common. That's maybe something weird with the voxel there. But just in general, because these are just as wide as your player's hitbox, occasionally you get a little bit tight and stuck in them. So they're nice, and they're nice to have. I've kind of avoided using the half stairs most of the time for that, especially in ships where you may not always be 100% level. Because if you go any sort of off level, these are almost unusable. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see. Oh, they forgot the railing there. Yeah, and it kind of shows a use for them, especially where you have it coming in then the stairs down, because those are... I mean, this is the block above, this is the block below, but, you know, from a use perspective, they take up the same space, so it means you can have walkway across that's just as tight as having the stairs there. That's neat. Right, so what I want to do, I see a puzzle. Down there, there's a crate blocking a doorway. I have this. Now, I can't quite make it go up and down, but I don't think that's critical. If I can take it... Yeah. Down this way. Down this little road. Okay. And now, the way is clear. What's in this room? Ooh. Okay. This is like the mine entrance. So, a lot of this is not... Yeah, I was just checking to see if there's actually anything back there. I'm kind of getting distracted here. This isn't really part of the edition. This is just available on the workshop. It uses all the new stuff, but... Oh, actually, I bet you I'll find something I do want to show off down here. Oh, those are cool. Using the... That was from the last DLC. The sort of... Depending on power usage, those will open up or turn off. Ooh, well, what's down there? But yeah, this is just a workshop. I forget who it was. I don't know if it's a Keen level designer or someone else who made this map, but it's pretty darn impressive. Oops, I've just vented their mining office, but I don't use oxygen, so who cares? Ooh. It's like a... This is kind of... I'm a little bit spooked. I don't know what's going on down here. It's this tunnel. Ooh. Oh, so those are just emitters, which makes sense. I've spoiled the magic a bit, I guess. We can go up. Use the power of jetpack. Is this some sort of... It is an elevator. Curious to see... Part of this is just looking at the interesting way this guy's designed the base. I've kind of stopped reviewing the update at this point. Yeah, that's cool. Again, another nice use for the corrugation. So down there was not what I was hoping for, which was a mining vehicle. Oh, and that's witty. He's used the... Or she, I don't actually know who this is. Again, they have used the desks as a sort of way to not quite go a half a block. So there's a little gap, but still have it so it's just a lip. Oh, I should have brought my... Oh no. I didn't know I needed my forklift all the way here. Be back in a second. Oh. I do like that they've added almost a little adventure. I have no idea if there's anything even remotely as a payoff down here. This could just go out the other side of the mountain. But it's very, I like the mystery of it. Oh, it's very hard to see in here. Does this thing have headlights? No. That's maybe a slight mistake on their part. I think I can go here. Oh, it's a little steep. Open. I am a little bit stuck. Come on. Oh boy. Yeah, this is... It's doing it. It's smooth enough for forklift operations. Ooh. Bit of a bump there. So, forklift. On the lift. Up we go. Now, which side? I can't remember how I exit. I think it's straight. Yes. Ooh, as it bucks up the lip. I may have to try that for elevator designs, because that works pretty well. Okay. Let's see what's behind door number 2. It's outside. Well, hey, I mean, it's a shortcut to get over here. So we're now at the front of the good old base. Yeah, there's not too much around. I guess this is as good a spot as any to show off some of the other stuff. So, we've kind of covered a lot of what was added in the update. Most of the... I'm cheating by looking at the list of all the things. Yeah, we've seen T-junctions. Ooh. So, I'm gonna build a little something real quick. Just to try and show off some of the bits that I don't think we've seen. Or actually first. So, one of the big things that was added that we've... That's a horrible skin to look at it in. That's actually also not great. Okay. So, one of the things that was added that I don't think we've seen used a lot here because they were using the round bits So there are a bunch of new blocks. So I'll just kind of pop them on the ground. So these are all connecting blocks. So they're basically ways to go from one shape to a different shape. You can see, so like for this first one, we've got that sort of 2x1 slope down to the little small 45 degree. This one does the 2x1 slope base down to a big 45 degree, and it's kind of a lot of that. So what these mean is all the spots on ships where you'd have a little lip because the two different lines of armor don't quite merge together, a lot of those are going to be solved. So it'll be kind of tricky to do. I don't know if I'll die of oxygen or not. Is this piped? Yeah, so I don't think I'll be able to throw something together. I could maybe do something that uses some of those. So, okay. So I have here what I would call the beginnings of a drone. It's got some interesting shapes, it's got some ideas, but I don't have a good way to connect from this to that. So let's start there. I've not used these yet, by the way, so I have no idea. I assume I may find blocks that I can't fix doing this, but I don't know. Okay. Yeah, so that one will go in like so. Oh, interesting. So they don't... Wait, I think I'm on a different block. Is there a mirrored version of this? There is. Yeah, so that is one thing with these. Because they're such complex shapes, you kind of have to have a mirrored version for different sides. But look at that. That's a smooth line between. And then here I could just use those. They work pretty well. Yeah. Now up front here... Actually, I think I could have done this before. Not super long ago before, mind you, because it uses these, but... Can I? Hold on. So I'd like to make a slope that goes... Actually, we can put this in. So how to connect... Yeah, no, this didn't exist before. Let's see if it does now. So, do I have... Oh, yeah. On it sloped correctly. Oh, in fact, hold on. They've done this really smart. So with that one block there, it lines up with a traditional point there, and then these line up there and there. Oh, but I need a special block there and there, which I believe we have. In fact, I have it already. Oh, look at that. That's the wrong one. That is a shape. That is exciting. And it all lines up. There are no weird, ugly lines. So, some of this video, I will admit, I'd started and then gotten stopped because I didn't like how it was coming out. This I've not done yet. That's exciting. This is a genuine excitement reaction. Ah, it just works. It's almost, funnily enough, I'm glad I used something that kind of highlights some of the lines. Because it's almost a little hard to see. But, I mean, you can see especially with the new weldless armor. So, I mean, you can kind of see the lines there, but that just looks like shape. That looks like it's meant to be And that's something that you couldn't do up until today. Ah, that's exciting. Now, I am noting a potential danger, especially on something that has mostly armor, using the weldless armor, is it really does look, it's very simple. Whoops. And it kind of looks fake, cartoony. It looks like the texture's not loaded. And that's probably why the original armor has these lines and whatnot, because in reality, you don't tend to have just massive swaths of completely smooth, uniform color. You tend to have things break it up, so it is something to keep in mind if you use this armor a lot. You will want to break it up with different colors, or I'd say use it sparingly and with caution. But no, I'm getting a slightly different vibe from this. I was originally going to make it a drone. I think let's get rid of you lot. I think this screams to me sleek starfighter, except with atmospheric and small grid, please. So that's something too we can do. So you can see the cockpit. If I lined up right there, it's got this slope, and that doesn't look quite right. So I'll need some normal armor. And I do have to change the color. Oh, that's for the other side. One issue as well with trying to build with this armor is, again, it's very difficult to actually tell what the heck is going on.
Energy
You can
low.
Oh, that's fine. You can sort of get it. But like over here, I can barely see the block at all. If I didn't know it was the right one, I'd have no idea. So, yeah. Standard and then that for highlights is probably best, but we do that there. Have a cockpit there. Look at the prow on that thing. Oh. So I'd use, these are the Warfare 2 update batteries on small grid, which are really cool and I do like, but they don't work well in stacks because they have the sloped, stay in screen, they have the sloped bits. So we'll do a few more traditional batteries. Okay. So that's a very kind of hot and ready spaceship. I wouldn't say it's impressively detailed aside from the front slopey bits, but it might fly. Yeah, totally. So we'll use this sleek red demon. Ooh, it's very quick and very hard to turn. Actually, I need something else I can pop into the sky. Ba-doop-ba-doop-ba-doo. We'll use, I could have used one of these to show off the point, but we'll kind of show it here. So, this is one of my ships, my F-49 Thunderbird. I think it's on the workshop, who knows? It's a big old mean thing. Let's do some seeing. So, some of the things, other things that were changed that we've not seen yet. Yes, view, and that'll be the block weapons, which don't have any bullets in them, of course. Okay. Now I have bullets. So, one thing, and if we go ahead and target that ship, you can see we have the little aiming reticle. And as I move, it now moves as well. It's kind of hard to show off, but allegedly, as I point into it, I'm scoring hits in gravity. Up until this point, a sort of, I'd say bug, or just lack of thought maybe. Basically, in gravity, that little aiming reticle did not account for bullet drop, which was added in the Warfare update. So, in space it worked fine to show you where to aim to hit your target. But, with bullet drop on planets, most of the time you would miss your target. I don't know why it came unlocked. Most of the time you would miss your target because the aiming reticle wasn't accurate. So you'd basically have to account in your aiming at the reticle to account for your distance for bullet drop. And I do believe the same is true for turret aiming. I'm not 100%, but yeah, they just say lead indicator working with gravity. I'd hope that's same with turrets too, because turrets were having issues with not being able to target correctly in gravity because their bullets were dropping where their aim was not accounting for it. So I believe that's fixed. And also, ooh, yeah. So, I don't know the last time you saw a Space Engineer's camera view, but this is a new overlay. And it's much less cluttered. The old one had like weird, almost like digital artifacting around the sides, which made no real sense for a fresh, new, functional camera. It's got in it a target reticule, so if I disable my HUD there, you can see my crosshair goes away. Or my crosshair. But because the camera overlay has one in it, you still have a crosshair for aiming purposes. And I like these little sort of framing things on the corners, though they're just little details. Overall, this is much nicer. It's still clear that you're in a camera versus viewing the game as a person. It gives a little more functionality with a camera built-in cursor for if you don't have your HUD up or if you don't like playing with the crosshair normally, which many people don't. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, okay, let's try not to crash this thing. It needs much more gyro power and other stuff to be any sort of useful, but go ahead and land and maybe give it a little addition. Also, those batteries are... Yeah, it's got 5 days now. I'm sure it'll be fine. So, the last big thing, and I would say one of the most exciting, comes from this. We'll get these two, and maybe one of these. So, here we have normal rotor. We have advanced rotor. This looks like a normal rotor, except it has a port. This is a small grid, small block, advanced rotor. So, this is... Actually, let's do... Here. I'm gonna make a slight adjustment. Oh, and actually, another thing... Where is that? Ah, it's in these. We'll make use of that as well. Even though it's completely pointless for what I'm about to do, it'll prove the point. So, if we stick cargo container under there. So, on small grid with large conveyors, we now have this device, which is a conveyor converter, which basically, as you can see, converts a large conveyor port in 1 block by 3 block space into a bunch of small ports. That is super useful for connecting stuff up. It used to be the best way to do this before was to use a hydrogen O2H2 generator, which worked well. It didn't have the ports around the side or this middle one. It only had one on each side of it, and it was 2 blocks deep. And also it was extraneous, needless stuff that was more weight only to convert down. So having this as an option makes life much happier. But if we go ahead... So, our advanced small rotor can go in the middle there. Then we'll use one of the hinges, which already had, if I can, it's very far away, but already had a conveyor port, small conveyor port for them. We'll stick one of those on. Ooh, and actually, I have a better way to show this than what I was originally planning. Where is... There's that. We'll stick a drill on the end of that whole mechanism. Now what we'll do...
Fuel low.
And fuel. Okay. Gonna use the custom turret controller under there. Yeah. So go ahead. We'll add the drill. I think this is a little hard. It's a slightly odd orientation, so this might be how we want to do it. But if I go in here, unlock and hover, we are kind of drifting down because of the drill, so it'll be a little janky, but if I control the turret, see, I can move it around. This is like the stupidest way you could... This is a mining ship, what I've just created, with an articulating sort of mining drill, so you could, in theory, if it weren't shaped as it is, you could see it being more useful, but, you know, you could move it into position, or if it were on a rover, you could move into position, then move the arm towards where the ore is, and then kind of make use of it. But we're down here, so we're doing some mining. We've filled the ship up with more weight that makes it very hard to fly. Okay, we'll reattach.
Fuel low.
If I look in here, so remember, it's a 1x1 rotor.
Fuel critical.
I'm about to fall. It has passed the stone through. So previously, to do something like what I've... Oh no, I don't need fuel. Right, creative mode. I panicked for a second. So to do this before this new junction and this new small rotor, you used one of these. You would have had to use an O2H2 generator there. Or no, first, because you didn't have the small rotors, you would have had to use one of those attached to the back. Then you would need O2H2 generator. You would need these small conveyors stuck onto it to get the hinge in the middle. Then you could put a hinge with piston coming off and your drill off the end. So that in length, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small blocks. That's the width of one large block from conveyor, or from cargo container to hinge, or one small block, or 2. So yeah, that makes things much, much simpler. And if you were to design this smart, you wouldn't even need this connector because you have this port here. So, yeah, exciting, exciting. I believe that's everything. Do one more glance. We've kind of explored all the options there are out there. So, yeah, I think that's where I'll end this. It's been quite the video. I'll have edited it down for viewer consumption, but even then it's probably going to be a long one just because there was so much stuff to cover. So, yeah, that is this new update. I think this is going to be very exciting. We're going to see a lot of cool new designs and stylish looking new designs as well. I'm very excited to play around with this and update a whole bunch of my older ships. That there are ships that I kind of need to redesign completely now because the whole design was based around what we could do with armor. And being able to do stuff like this now means I can design stuff much more compact and, more as I envision it. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. As always, feel free to check out any of my other stuff, and until next time, bye bye.